What's going on, ladies and gents? Today's video isn't going to be me actually talk. Well, it is me talking, but we're basically just going to be going over energy production improvements. So a little bit on why the increase in oxygen can be beneficial to the body in terms of making you feel more energized. So this might explain why you feel better after a workout, and generally ways you can improve this, which when it comes down to it is quite simple because it basically is just an increase in oxygen, as this will show. So ATP production, so if we broke it down to its normal system, we can look at it here, and basically putting in oxygen food into the cell will basically just make this entire cycle. So the glucose will go through all these different processes and through the Krebs cycle and the electron transport and make the units of ATP, which is adenosine triphosphate. Obviously the after effect of all this will be carbon dioxide and water. So obviously when oxygen goes into the body, it'll go through all the systems and through the lungs and create carbon dioxide as the output. So if we look at it in terms of what you need, we see here we have food and oxygen. So obviously the increase in food is going to help in terms of when you're bulking, you're going to feel more energized, obviously if you're not eating too much food. But if we looked at it on the flip side and then also said oxygen, as we can see here out to the side, with O2 being included into the cell, you have a 34 to 38 unit ATP. However, without oxygen, it is only at 2. So this will show the importance of O2 being in the system to general efficiency of production. So where we will be doing such things as, say, a warm-up and increasing energy expenditure, the body will basically be converting this O2 and turning it into CO2. And when your body realizes this, it's basically just going to turn it round, and basically your body's going to realize that it needs to have more oxygen, so it's going to pump more oxygen around. So as we can see here through the exercise section, I've put improved speed of transportation and blood around the body, and increases CO2, which means the brain needs to basically send sensors to the body to work harder to get oxygen around the body to where it needs it. Now, what other systems can we put in place to improve oxygen in the blood? If we looked at certain foods such as beetroot and dark chocolate, which is what I tend to use, this helps with vasodilation, which basically expands the blood vessels, so basically helps in terms of how much blood is getting around the body. If you had vasoconstriction, obviously it's constricting the amount of blood that is going to get around the body, so this is basically going to affect how much you can get per, say, your stroke volume and blood volume. So obviously this is going to be important in terms of how much blood gets to the muscle and how much oxygen gets to the muscle. As daft as it sounds, posture makes a big part into this. So if you have a bad posture, it's going to affect your breathing because you're positioning for your lungs, etc. Avoiding bad air itself, so if you live closer to a city as an example, CO2 and carbon monoxide is going to be quite high. Yeah, I mean, I live quite countryside-ish. I have a higher level of fresh air, so O2 can be an important factor for me. So I can get out on a walk and then I can improve my oxygen, the level of oxygen in my blood, which can generally help with energy levels and energy production. Improving deep breathing technique. Now this is something that I have been doing in the past. I need to put it back in myself, to be fair. And this basically just works with the efficiency of how you're breathing. So are you breathing through certain areas? I know you're forgetting to breathe in certain movements. So for me, nasal breathing is going to be a lot deeper because it engages a lot more of the intercostals and the lungs than mouth breathing will. So even if you did a little test yourself, if you grabbed onto your obliques quite high, just below your ribs, if you breathed in through your mouth, there would not be too much difference. If you took a big breath in through your nasal passage, through your nose, you will see a major lift up in your ribs through your lungs. So it is quite an important factor to look upon. And finally, reducing and quitting alcohol, smoking and drugs. So obviously the efficiency of oxygen in the body and your blood is going to be very different if you are a smoker, and generally alcohol is going to be threatening the balance and how much oxygen you can get into the blood. So this is very important to show that the amount of oxygen that is in your blood is going to help in terms of energy production and general performance if you are in the gym.